What is it like being an entrepreneur who's introverted in the online space? This is what we're talking about on the podcast today with my guest, Lisa Ann. And I loved our conversation because we talk about what life looks like and what business can look like when you're not someone who is like super loud, super out there, and super like in your face extroverted, kind of like I am. My guest, Lisa, is an amazing friend of mine. And honestly, our conversation, anytime we sit down and have a conversation, it's just always so much fun. And I wanted to have Lisa on the podcast to talk about happiness, to talk about success, to talk about motherhood, and to talk about life when maybe you're someone who's just more introverted. I loved that we went here on our conversation today. And I know that you're going to be able to take a lot away from what we talk about. Before we get into it with Lisa, I want you to meet her. Lisa Ann is a mom, wife, F45 addict, podcaster, the founder of Stock Media, and a digital marketing expert who began her journey in 2015. From starting as a clueless entrepreneur struggling to find paying clients, she transformed herself into a powerhouse, investing over $3.5 million in ads and generating over 1.5 million leads online. Lisa has scaled her clients' businesses up to an impressive 1,000%, making her a true force to reckon with in the industry. When she's not behind her computer, you're going to find her crushing her workouts, traveling, or hanging out with her 1-year-old daughter. I know you're going to love our conversation today, so let's get into it. Be sure to rate and review the show, and let's dive into our conversation with Lisa. Lisa, welcome to Happiness Happens. I am so excited to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to hear all the questions you're going to ask me.
Oh my, I'm excited to hear what I'm going to ask you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I said a little bit in the intro when I was, introducing the podcast and the episode. And you and I have known each other for quite a few years now. We work closely together on all kinds of things in the podcast world, lead generation world. We're in the same mastermind group. And it's so nice to have like a friend that lives close by because we live 5 minutes up the street from each other, even though we don't see each other in person that often, but that's fine. It's really, this is fine. But it's really nice to have a friend who lives close by. We work in similar spaces. We're very of the same mindset, but we're also very different people fundamentally. And I think that it's really cool to see, people talk about success and people talk about achieving your goals and putting action towards what you're doing. And you and I would say, and you tell me if you agree, you and I have, in my opinion, a very similar mindset when it comes to that, but totally different ways of approaching our businesses.
I think approaching our businesses, but also kind of approaching our lives, not in a bad way whatsoever, but you're kind of like the yin to my yang, or like you are the bubbly, the fun, the out there person that I'm just like sitting here, little quiet me.
But it's like, and this is what we're going to talk about today too, because, there's this whole dichotomy and like this whole perspective that if you're someone that's more introverted, that you're hard to get along with, or people don't gravitate towards you, or, you don't do well in business. And like, that couldn't be further from the truth. But before we dive into any of that, I want to ask you my first question. And it's a question that I ask at the beginning of every single podcast episode. And it is, what does happiness mean to you?
You know what? I listened to your episode, so obviously I knew this was coming, but I didn't really plan for any of this, to be honest. But if I could think about what happiness means to me, it's waking up without stress. Waking up just actually ready to move forward with your day, excited to move forward with your day, not waking up be like, oh, it's Monday, or oh, I don't want to do this today. And to me, that is the feeling of happiness, I guess, that I would be looking for, or just being able to wake up, do whatever it is that you want to do with the people that you want to be with, and basically waking up, doing whatever it is that you want to do.
I love that answer. And I feel like that answer is complex because yes, we want to wake up with no stress, but like how many times do you go to bed? And I have to say, honestly, I don't feel this way so much now that I work for myself. I felt this a lot when I was in corporate. The Sunday scaries, oh my God, I can't believe the weekend is done. What if I don't finish this project or get, this deadline and whatever. And I think it can be something that most people like strive for, but there's always an underlying amount of stress.
Yeah, absolutely. Like everyone's going to have stress in their day, regardless of what your days or life actually looks like. It's just, that stress that it's like, you feel it in your entire body and you're like, I don't want to get out of bed. I just don't want to do this. I don't want to have to do this today. That's, if you can eliminate that, like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, if you can go to, you're going to go to your job, you're going to go work in your business, whatever it is for you. But if you like your job, if you love what you're doing, you're not going to have that same feeling as the Sunday scaries, like you said.
It's so true. How do you in your day to day, because, and I know this has probably been like a process and a journey, and I also kind of think like as it should be, to wake up more often in that state of mind. Like,
Mm.
what would you say, like on a weekly basis? Would you say it's like an 80% that you wake up like that, 100%, like 90%?
I
You're like,
mean,
I wish 100%.
yeah, I wish 100% for sure. I mean, running a business is not easy. So that's just a
Mhm.
whole other layer we can talk about. But it's your mindset at the end of the day. And instead of complaining about all the things that you have to do, can you switch it to say, I get to do this? So just a completely random example. It's stressful running a business, and I'm raising my daughter who's just about 1.5. That is a lot to deal with in one day. So instead of me saying, oh, I have to go into 3 meetings today, I have to finish these projects, I'm not going to get to see my daughter all day long like I want to. It's okay, I get to work with my clients, but I also get to see my daughter in throughout the day, throughout
Mhm.
in between my meetings, I guess I could say. So it's like, it's really the shift of your mindset. But I mean, it's definitely not going to be 100%. And if anyone is saying it's 100%, I don't know if it truly actually is 100% that they're feeling that, but it's more so the shift of mindset for me.
1,000%. There's always that like underlying guilt. I think that especially as a new mom and trying to do all the things and like operating, because I think for women too, and I mean, I don't have any kids, and my listeners know that I don't have any kids, but we produce a lot of parenting content within my agency. And I have a lot of friends who have kids. And I feel like moms kind of get this like internal guilt, and then also to this external guilt of I have to be available to everyone and I want to be present for everything. But then it's like, where do you fit in the puzzle of all of that?
I actually had someone say to me the other day, she's like, how do you do it all? Like, you didn't miss a beat with your business. You didn't miss a beat with your fitness. You didn't miss a beat with your kids when you actually had a kid. Like, how did you do it? And I was like, one, it's not easy. Some days I feel like I'm drowning,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm keeping up. I'm doing it. And I know what is priority that day. And I've really structured my day to be able to kind of fit everything in. But it's yes, I feel like moms have that guilt, but it's also just like kind of my personality. Like, I'm a recovering people pleaser. I will say that. I
Welcome to the
like to
club.
make, yeah,
Let me join your club.
I would also say like I'm a perfectionist, but I'm also trying
Yeah.
to switch that. Instead of going for perfection, I'm going for excellence. So it's like there's these
Mm.
little different ways that you can look at life, but it's also looking at your personality. I don't believe that every single mom is going to have that guilt. Some people will actually say, you know what, I'm not meant to be a stay-at-home mom. And I'm definitely not meant to be a stay-at-home mom. I need to have other things. I need to have my business. But it all comes down to, in my opinion, how do you fit everything in and actually achieve what you want to achieve in your day versus what society is going to tell you to achieve. Like,
Mm.
society tells you as a mom, you have to do this, 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 this. It's not that way.
Exactly. How did you start to structure your days and your time? And I know this, it takes a lot of work, and like this is a lot of what we've learned together over the last few years, but how did you start to restructure your days to fit the lifestyle that you want versus letting all of your to-dos run you?
So it definitely was a work in progress, still is a work in progress, especially as things within the business are shifting, things within, as my daughter is growing and getting more busy, definitely things are shifting. In the beginning, when she would just sleep on the couch, I could do a whole lot more than now when
Yeah.
she's running around and needs more attention. But it's time blocking at the end of the day.
Hmm.
I have this PDF, and some people are gonna be like, you're crazy, but this is just my type A personality. I have this PDF Monday through Friday of exactly what my perfect day would look like. So I
Oh.
wake up, I'm with my daughter. I go to the gym. I come home. I get ready. I have breakfast with my daughter. I block off a couple hours to take meetings. Then I have time with my daughter. Then I'm going to actually work. And then again, block another section off for meetings. And then basically spend late afternoon to evening when she goes to bed. And then at the nighttime, if I have to work, which right now, yes, I am doing a lot of work, just kind of the stage in the journey that I'm in with my business. So at nighttime, I'm doing a lot of work, which some people complain about. Some days I do complain about, but it's just kind of, it gives me the structure that I can be more present with my daughter. But essentially what I did, structured my day or my perfect week. Some days it's not going to go according to plan. But from a business owner side of things, based on those time blocks, that is when my clients or prospects are able to actually book in meetings with me.
Mm.
And then boundaries. So much easier said than done, but actually saying, no, I'm only available at this time, or no, I can't squeeze you in here. That's another really big piece of it, which again, I struggle with. I still struggle with it, going back to the recovering people pleaser, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just something that it's a work in progress for sure.
That's a really, really cool strategy. I really like that because if you put it in your calendar, you can move that so easily. But when you have it on a PDF, it's something that's constant and like that
Mhm.
is the goal in which you are striving towards.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I like
And
that.
it's a screensaver on my computer. So I literally look at it every single day to remind myself. Because
Oh.
how many times do you come up with a plan of your week or whatever, and then you put it away beside you, or you never look at it again? And then at the end of the week, you're like, I did not follow this at all. So if it's in front of you, you're going to actually follow it. So it's ingrained kind of in me now. Again, it's
Mhm.
not 100% perfect. Some days aren't exactly as I want it to be, but I'm striving to at least hit 80% of the days how I've planned it.
That's really, really good. You should be super proud of yourself because that's actually a really hard thing
Thank
to
you.
do. You're welcome. And then, the other thing that I'm thinking about too in all of this is the idea of like setting boundaries can be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, like, I think that our boundaries, and you tell me what you think about this, but I think that our boundaries can sometimes be tied to our own self worth. Like, how worthy do we feel about X, Y, and Z, whether it's a client or money or time with family or friends or whatever? Because, like, I've made a hard boundary for myself that I only take calls Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I will not take a client call on a Monday and a Friday. And if I give someone a spot on my Monday or Friday, I specifically say, I'm doing this as an exception and I do not normally take calls on a Monday. And
Mm-hmm.
it like people respect it, but it's like they respect it because I respect my time.
Yeah. Yeah. It all comes down to respecting your time and respecting yourself at the end of the day. But I mean, how many times do people reach out to you and say, hey, I don't see a spot on your calendar. Can you
Mm.
squeeze me in? That's the hard part,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I could say, I don't normally do this, but I will squeeze you in. But then going back to the whole schedule or your perfect day, that ruins everything. Because that hour
Exactly.
that you just spent on the call with a client, now that's an hour I'm either not spending with my daughter, or an hour that now I can't work on a project. And now the whole day is just a shamble.
Hmm. I like this awareness that we're bringing to this because from the outside looking in, people maybe who work in corporate who don't like their job will look at entrepreneurship and be like, oh, you're so lucky. You get to work from home. Like, you're so lucky. Like, do you know how many times I hear that on a weekly basis? Like, my friends and whatever, and people who live close in proximity to like where I live say, oh, like, it must be so nice. Like, you work from home. Like, you don't have to battle traffic. Like, you don't have to this. And I'm like, yeah, but like, there's also that piece of like, when you don't have a change of scenery,
Ew, it's definitely hard.
it is very hard when your four walls don't change very much, and you know what I mean. So there's like that side of it, but it's just and I don't mean to I'm not trying to complain about that by any stretch. Like, I'm very grateful that I work from home because that was a big dream for me. Like, I don't want to sit in traffic. And I drove at like 8 o'clock the other day and I was like, absolutely not. Like, this is enough motivation for me to never
Yeah.
go back to corporate in my life. But we all have those different goals and we all have those different pieces. And so, what advice would you give to tap into a goal that you really want and make it into your reality? You're very good at doing that. You're like, I
Mm-hmm.
want this, I'm doing it, and it's done.
I mean, be stubborn. One,
I don't know how to do that.
that's me.
See the yin and the yang?
Yeah, be
I'm like, I'm
stubborn. It's
sorry.
but it's gonna happen if you're stubborn. If it's like what I mean by stubborn, it's not necessarily the personality, but if you want a goal, you're gonna make it happen. It's a decision in your mind at the end of the day. So from a step-by-step process for you, know what your goal is, know why you want to accomplish it, and know the steps that it's going to take in order to get there. Now, going back to the whole schedule it in. So whether that is fitness, whether that's a business project, whether it's working on your business, whether like totally whatever goal it actually is for you, schedule it into your day just like it's a doctor's appointment that you can't miss. And have boundaries that is the goal, or that is the time that you set aside to work on it. And now sometimes I'll hear, okay, well, I only have half an hour to work on this goal. Is it really worth it? Well, you know what? Those half an hour chunks, if it's a half an hour a day or half an hour a week, that's at least moving you one small step closer to your goal versus you saying, hey, I can't do it until I have a full day that I can actually work on my goal. So the small steps at the end of the day are going to build up to get you to where you want to be. But again, it comes down to making sure you understand what that goal is and why you want to do it. And then literally schedule it in and be like, nope, this is it. This is what I'm doing. And be stubborn, but also be respectful of yourself and your own goals, which I feel like is, again, easier said than done. But
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my personality. I'm
I
just going to do
love
it.
that. I love that. Okay, I want to shift for like 2 seconds because I was thinking about something that you are so good at. And I want to dig into this just a little bit. Okay. So go with
I'm
me.
nervous.
Humor me. Humor me. I know you're like, I've got to go. Bye. See you later. No, I'm just kidding. No. It's not that. I promise you. So, okay. As I'm going to say specifically women because my audience is primarily women. Not all. There are men who listen to the show. Thank you. We love
Hi,
you.
guys.
Hi. This can actually work for it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. I shouldn't even specify. But having that said, you are someone who has always prioritized your health, okay?
Mm.
In life, entrepreneurship, corporate, parenthood, whatever label you want to put on it, there is always an excuse. I'm going to use myself as an example. There is always an excuse of why I cannot prioritize my health. And I know that fitness has been something that's been important to you since a long, long time ago. So it's just ingrained in you and it's routine for you. What do you think is that differentiating factor I'm going to use between you and I? There's no reason why I can't go and do a workout for an hour. There's no reason. What is that, in your opinion, differentiating factor? And I'm not offended. I'm very like, it's something that I've been thinking about lately. It's like, why is it so easy for some people and not for others? And it's like everyone dreads working out. Everyone dreads eating healthy. Everyone dreads taking care of themselves until you're at a spot where you're like, I should have been doing that months ago.
Yeah, and I don't agree that everyone dreads it. I love working out.
Right.
I like my
Everyone, me.
cookies for sure. So just calling you out there, not everyone dreads it. But
Fair.
going back, like you said, it's been a part of my life since I was 14. And I originally started when I was young. When I've always played sports, so it's always something that I've done. But I've started going to the gym when I was young, and it always turned into my outlet. And there's so many stories that I can give you in terms of how it actually has influenced me. But basically, to me, if I'm strong in the gym, I can be strong in every other aspect of my life. And that is literally deep into my core. And yes, is it hard? Do I sweat? Is it annoying some days? Like, yeah, for sure. But if I'm not going to the gym, I'm not actually showing up for myself in a way that's going to make me happy. You can literally wake up with me and I don't go to the gym. I won't be in the same mood as if I go to the gym. Literally, period. Ask my husband. I will not be in a good mood if I don't get a workout in. Whether it's just going for a walk or a run or heading to F45 or actually going to the gym, it's just like it does something to me, but it is because it is a part of my routine. But when you can achieve something at the gym, something as little as picking up a heavier weight, that sense of endorphins, the sense of accomplishment, that is something that even from a business standpoint, you're always working towards something, another goal. So it's like, it's an easy way to hit goals. But if I tell you a story, so I was in corporate at this point, and I was actually doing a bikini competition. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would do a bikini competition. Like me walking on stage, one, you mentioned I'm an introvert, like walking on stage in heels that I can barely walk in a bikini, like way, like not me whatsoever. So I'm like, okay, why do I want to do this? I did it to prove to myself that I'm strong enough to beat my mind. At the end of the day, people don't like to do something that's too hard because their mind is telling them it's too hard. So if you can get yourself out of your mind or out of your head and say, hey, my thoughts are just thoughts, I can actually achieve whatever I want to do and let my thoughts just kind of settle for a sec. It taught me discipline. It taught me so many different things, but it taught me my strength. And that alone, having that strength, I know because I can achieve something in the gym, I can achieve it in business, I can achieve it in parenthood, I can achieve it in relationships, I can literally achieve anything because I know how to get past the thoughts in my head.
One tip for someone if they want to start to get past the thoughts in their head.
Set it in your calendar. Put it, just do it. Like if I know every single day at 7:15, I'm at the gym. If there's days that, yeah, I'm sore, I don't want to go, I'm tired, whatever, but I go and I'm going to feel crappy getting there. But once I leave, I have that same feeling every single day that I am worthy and strong enough to achieve anything.
I love that. One thing that I have, like one challenge that I have is my day doesn't always start the same. So like sometimes I'll have to take a call earlier than I would have anticipated, or I have to hop on because there's like something that I, like, I don't know, I tend to work late at night. And I know you work later now too, just with how your life is and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I find like I wake up and I'm so tired that I'm just like 10 more minutes, 10 more minutes. And in my mind, I know I'm like, I should get up and do this. Like I have all of the things that I need right downstairs, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I went to bed at, 12 or 1 o'clock. I don't want to wake up at 6. That's only 5 hours of sleep. Like that's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just like, I guess really it just is a story in my mind, maybe.
It's structure. Like if you tell yourself, hey, I'm only working until 10, 10:30, 11, pick a day every single week or pick a time every single day that you know for sure that you'll make it there.
Hmm.
So maybe for you, it's 10 a.m. And you can have a time block in your morning if you want to take a call in the morning. That's totally up to you. But it's the boundaries that you're setting and the schedule that you're creating.
I love that. Okay.
And
I
it's
love
not, let's just turn it into a therapy session for Simona. Hey, get to the gym.
No,
But it doesn't have to
okay, I
be the
will.
gym.
No, just kidding.
But, like it can be something. It can be walking your dog. Like whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is for you that's going to make you feel a certain way. Like I do believe that people who focus on themselves, whether it's physically or mentally, they can achieve, I don't want to say achieve more, achieve better things, but it does impact the way that you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of finding something that is going to help you get past your mindset or
Mm-hmm.
beat the negative thoughts or have a certain feeling. And once you find that feeling, you're going to find it so hard not to hit that feeling every single day. And that's
It's
the point
so
that I'm
true.
at now.
Yeah, that is such a good point. And I know I think about like what my last year of my life has kind of looked like. And it's been like a lot of going back to bad coping mechanisms and ways and things that like you shouldn't, but it's almost like it's kind of like you have to go there in order to build yourself. Like if you think about someone's like rock bottom, how do you build yourself up from rock bottom? But I read this quote the other day and it was like someone's growth isn't measured by their immediate response. It's like measured by this is like very much paraphrasing. I have no idea if this is actually what it said, but it was like someone's growth is judged or like based on not the initial reaction, but the reaction afterwards, like your
Mm-hmm.
secondary reaction.
Yeah. I mean, even if you think about it, like online, like obviously we work online a lot. So it's like we only see the outcome. We don't
Yeah.
see the steps that someone had to take. So it's like if you're trying to compare yourself to someone that's already hit that goal, you didn't see all the hardship that they went through. So you hit rock bottom. So now it's what's that next step? And it goes back to that thing that I was talking about. You have 30 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day. Like just take those incremental steps. And
Mm-hmm.
most people, what I see them try to do, whether it's any goal, not just fitness related, but just keep it on this theme, is they try to replace the bad habit immediately.
Hmm.
Instead of just saying, okay, I don't want to eat cookies anymore, throw out the cookies, get them out of my house, I'm never going to see them. You're actually going to want it more because you're saying, I can't have it. So instead of saying, okay, I'm not going to have a cookie today, say, I'm going to have a cookie, but I'm also going to go for a run.
Hmm.
And eventually you'll slowly just start weaning it out.
It's actually such a good point too. And I have another client. She's a naturopath, and she explained that your taste buds replace themselves like every 20 days or something like that.
Isn't that
And
wild?
that is absolutely wild. It's like your whole cells and your whole body. We think that we are always the same, but we're literally always changing every single day. But I think it's like the ideas in our mind that keep us in this state of this is just how I am. And that's like, there's no growth in that.
Mm-hmm. I challenge you to do bikini competition if you're ever feeling that, because one, you're going to change your entire physical body and mental state. But it's
Hmm.
like, I did not think I could achieve what I achieved. And it's, it taught me how quickly you can change yourself.
Hmm. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. You want to be my trainer? No, I'm just kidding.
Come to F45 with me.
I actually
Every day
really
at 7:15. There you go. That's where I am, guys. That's where you can find me.
I absolutely love it. I want to shift a little bit into something we talked about. Thank you, first of all, for that. I think that's amazing. And I think it's really good advice because I think it's really easy to sit there and play the victim of like, all these things have happened to me in my life. And, I've gained so much weight and I can't seem to lose it and it never works and it never would. But it's like, first of all, if that's a story that you're telling yourself, that's the vibration in your cells in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And like, second of all, you're telling yourself all of the things that you can't be instead of telling yourself a different story of things that you could potentially be. So,
Yeah.
yeah, super powerful. I like that a lot. I want to shift a little bit into the differences in like personality, if you will, in entrepreneurship. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
you said at the beginning of this interview that, I'm someone who's like a little bit more bubbly, a little bit out there and like whatever. And you're more, I would say definitely more structured than me. I would say, but I wouldn't even say that, like, I don't
You
even know
get
how
your
to,
shit done. Like,
I
it's not that you,
do.
yeah, like we still get the same stuff done. We just do it differently. We have different personalities.
Exactly. So I want to talk some of the misconceptions about, being someone who is a really powerful leader and just absolutely killing it every single day, and not being someone that is like, "Hi, look at me," like me.
Yeah, I'm definitely not like, hey, look at me at all. Even
You're like,
though,
"Please don't look."
but that's the thing. So I would say to some people, like, oh, I'm an introvert. And they're like, no way. Like, how?
Hmm.
Like, you're showing up on social media, you're running this like networking event, like you're doing presentations. Like, what do you mean you're an introvert? I don't believe you. I'm like,
Hmm.
you know what? One, like, I'm doing these things because I'm not gonna say because I have to, but because I have trained myself to be able to step out of my comfort to do it for my business and to make a bigger impact and all the things. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that internally I'm like screaming. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. But again, it just came back to me teaching myself how to do it
Hmm.
actually.
Can I also say to this too that I feel the exact same way? Like, when I step on a stage, I'm like, "Fuck, fuck, fuck, fuck." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just did a talk on the weekend, and the whole time, like, for 24 hours beforehand, I was like, "I can't do it." I was like, "I can't do
Mhm.
it. I shouldn't do it." Like, and then I, like, got there, and it was, like, totally fine, and everything was fine. But even on social media, I'm like, I don't want to show up, and, like, I don't want to, I don't want to do all this. But it's like, especially as a business owner, like, yes, like, there is a certain amount of, like, should behind that. Like, yes, you should
Mhm.
do that. But it's funny because it's like, even though this is kind of like what I'm gathering from all this, even though we're all different types of people, we all have the same fears, and we all
Mhm.
have the same, I wouldn't say maybe not all, but a lot of us have the same beliefs and the same challenges. And I just think that's wild.
Yeah, and it's literally just how we come across to people. Like, yes, like so me and Simona were in the airport, right? And we're going, where are we going at this point? I think Chicago. Literally, we're down sitting down for breakfast. She's talking with this waitress. They're all I can't even remember his name, but they're just talking and talking and talking. And I'm just like saying them like, just eating my breakfast. Like, he hasn't even asked me hello, like hasn't even said hello to me or hi. Like, and inside I'm like, okay, so one side of me could have been, why doesn't he like me?
Oh.
Why aren't they talking to me? Why am I the quiet person? Like, that's one way that my brain could have went. Or is it me sitting there and be like, this is kind of interesting. Like, Simona just like attracting all these people and like listen to the conversation. So it's like there's so many different thought processes that people will have regardless. Again, like, you could have been sitting there and be like, oh my god, why is this guy talking to me? But like, I'm too nice, I'm not gonna stop talking to him. So
That's
like
1,000% most of the time what's going through my mind.
but it's just like, how are we internally going back to the story? What story are we telling ourselves in our head?
And you know what's funny too? I've caught myself doing this a lot also, because I'm someone who presents like more extroverted. I actually would say like I'm an introverted extrovert. Like, I like
Mhm.
being alone. Like, I like my time alone. Like, I like being alone, but I also love being around people. And so it's kind of like
Mhm.
both. But a lot of the times I feel like I have to keep the conversation going because nobody else will. And then everyone kind of like looks, and I'm just like, okay, you know what I mean? It's like on
Yeah.
me to keep the conversation going. And like, I don't love being in that position all the time. Like, I don't
Mhm.
love it. Like, it's like, get the cue, like, sir at the restaurant. Like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, you know what I mean? In a nice way. But it's like, it's
Yeah.
that boundary of people pleaser and
Mhm.
niceness and all of the things. And so it's like, but even that, Lisa, has been so challenging to like reframe because, if I look at it from like a family perspective, there, it's like an expectation within my family as well. But you're
Mhm.
always bubbly, but you're always this, but you're always that. And it's like, it gives no space for anyone to change when people have painted
Yeah.
you into a box.
Literally. And even like talking on that subject of family, it's like, why am I the way that I am? Well, my sister is very much like you. She is the
Mm.
one in the pictures when we were little, like dancing, like she's the front and center. And if my mom asked me, hey, Lisa, how was your day growing up? My sister would answer for me. So it's like, I
Oh.
think back to all of these reasons of why I am the way that I am. Like, I mean, my mom's also very similar to me, so I know I get it from her, but I didn't have that opportunity to get out of my shell until I started my business.
Hmm.
Now it's something that I have owned. It is me, it is mine. Like, my entire brand is around me. So either I get to the point like, you either like me or you don't like me, it's fine. But it gave me this option to actually speak. I want to say that. I'm going to say speak. Like, it actually gave me a voice.
Which is absolutely insane because you think about how many people just feel silenced in life and like they can't say anything, and like you have this creative outlet that allows you to do that, and you have a podcast, and you have, you know, all of your courses, all of the talks that you give, all of these amazing things, and it's just like, you know, one thing, and I'll give this tip to all of my extrovert friends, like stop talking sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't need to talk all the time. And like it's interesting because like because you and I are so yin and yang, I learn a lot from when we go places too, because I'm like, oh, I don't need to be extra like this. Like I can take a backseat and everything's gonna be just fine, you know?
Yeah, I mean, but then the other side is, okay, introverts, you can speak up. You don't have to, they don't have to wait until someone asks you a question. And I think that is the biggest thing. Like if we're in a group setting, if someone doesn't ask me a specific question or bring me into the convo, I will sit there, I'll observe, I'll watch, I'll listen.
Now with me, Ron, I'm gonna bring you in and be like, Lisa. I love this.
But then it's like also like small talk is just like, I hate small talk. Like, I just hate it. It's like, why? But it's also like my personality of like, I need to achieve. Not saying it's a good personality to have or a good
Like
habit
trait.
that I fell into.
Yeah.
It's just like the small talk. I'm like, okay, did it, done, move on to the next thing.
You know what, though? I do resonate with that as well. And I resonate that a lot with like, even when I'm walking my dog in the neighborhood, like my dog knows everybody in the neighborhood. So I can't just take him for a walk for like 5 minutes. And this is one of the things that stress me out because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to structure my day. I'm going to wake up at 6 o'clock and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to take my dog for a walk and I'm going to, but then I end up like my 10-minute walk has turned into a 30-minute ordeal. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to every single person I see on the street. Like I just want to go inside. Like but then it's like, oh,
don't make eye contact. That's the key.
One of my neighbors doesn't like coming for walks with me because she's like, do you have to say hi to everybody? And I'm like, yes, because I have this internal complex of like, if I don't say hi and if I don't give someone, you know, all like the time and the attention and whatever, that they're gonna think I'm a mean person, they're gonna hate me, and then they're never gonna like me again. That's literally the thought of my mind.
Literally funny story. So when I was going to the gym, I at this time, like it wasn't at 45 as LA Fitness. And when I go to the gym before I was in like group classes, I'm the type of person, headphones on, like I'm focused, like
Yeah.
I'm here for a reason, like let me do my
No.
thing and I'm gonna get out. So my photographer, he was going to the same gym as me. Before he actually knew me, he thought I was the meanest person in the entire world. She's like, she is so mean. Like she just comes in here all bitchy and just like all these things. And like then he said, we start talking and I open my mouth. He's like, oh wow, you're so sweet. And I'm like, one, I have RBF, like for sure. Thank you, Dad. But two, it's just like, I'm here for a reason. I'm in here doing my thing. I'm not talking to anyone. Like that doesn't make me mean. But it's like people have this, because I'm quiet and I don't like to engage in conversations. If I'm going for a walk, I'm going for a walk. Sure, I'll smile. I've been working on that. But it's like, I'm not a mean person just because I may not talk. Whereas you're saying hi to everyone. So everyone's like, oh, like you're so nice. Like you are nice in general, but like you get it.
I get it. I totally get it. And it's like it's a really interesting thing because like there's a lot of conversation, especially around like leadership and in business and stuff like that, of, you know, are introverted people good leaders and like this and that and whatever. And it's like, yes, because we all at the end of the day have our own strengths that we bring to the table. It has nothing to do with like, I think that kindness within is a core value that someone has or you don't have. You know what I mean? You can be a quiet person but still be very kind, and you can be a loud person and be completely nasty and mean, right? It's like it's about how are you on a soul level, and then like how do you portray that into the world around you, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Like you can be a quiet person, be the nicest person, or people look at you and say that you're mean because you're too quiet, and that's how you're coming up from a leadership perspective. But from a leader perspective, whether it's corporate or run your own business, doesn't matter. I think from my perspective, I listen a lot and I let people, I'm not going to say do what they want to do, but I let people take the reins and actually implement what they think is right. And then I will guide them on how to make it better in a certain scenario.
Yeah.
Versus me coming in and being a dictator saying, hey, no, you have to do this. It's my way or the highway. Again, some people are going to say easier said than done. Yes, it's something that you have to work on, but it's like, there's pros and cons. It's like, because I'm listening to you, I'm actually giving you a chance to voice your opinion, but it's also giving me different ideas because how I am actually internalizing what you're saying, I'm like going, okay, my brain is going here. Now this is what we can do as I'm listening to you.
I really resonate with that as well. Listening hasn't always been something that's like my strong suit, but it's something that I've definitely been working on over the years. And things are way better when you actually listen to people, because you learn things and understand things from a perspective that you didn't have before. And especially in business, like also in relationships and everything, but it's really been helpful in business specifically, because I can listen to the problem that the person is having and not make a judgment on what I think they should do. And they can just we get to the solution together,
That's the thing. It's like, I mean, specifically for sales in general, it's like if you're talking more than the other person, you're not going to close them at the end of the day. You want to listen and then give them the solution. And you can
Exactly.
be the solution after you listen to everything. And then you can kind of jump in and say, hey, here's my recommendation.
Yeah, 1000%. Lisa, I could talk to you all day about all of the things. Can you let my
I mean,
listener know where they can find you?
yeah, absolutely. So on social media at Lisa Ann Coaching, you'll see all things entrepreneurship, my life, fitness, everything essentially that goes along with Lisa Ann. So that's the best place to find me. Again, there's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the things. Then also I have my podcast, the More Than Social podcast, which is geared more towards helping entrepreneurs really scale their business by leveraging digital marketing and automation.
Love that. I'm going to ask you my last question. It's a question I've been asking on the podcast ever since I've had the podcast, and I always seem to get a different answer. But what is one way my listener can create a little more happiness in their day, every day, starting today?
One way. That is a really good question.
Thank
So
you.
it's definitely loaded. One way to create happiness for you, set that structure and stick to it. Give yourself 90 days to stick to that new structure that we talked about today. It will change your life in ways that you probably couldn't even envision at this point.
I love that. Lisa, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for tuning into today's episode on Happiness Happens. I am so grateful that you're here. And I know Lisa is so grateful that you're here too. Be sure to connect with us. Tell us what you like from our conversation. Leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe to the show. I hope you have a beautiful day today. And remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it.